Okay.
and other poems
Gold Derby
by Maya
This is our
Angelou.
2016 Creative Arts Slugfest. It's like one day away. By the time you watch this video, you probably will already know the winners. But we're gonna try to predict them. I think I got one guest star last year. I got two guest stars correct the year before. So I'm not the one to listen to, but maybe these guys are. I'm here with Charlie. I'm here with Ralph. Let's start with comedy guest actress. I'm picking Tina and Amy. They were on Saturday Night Live. They co-hosted that together. Among other things, Amy played Hillary Clinton, and Charlie, you do a really good Trump impression. So what would Trump think of Amy and Tina winning the Emmy?
Well, let me tell you, Tina is a really great woman. I know her personally. I was actually, her husband doesn't really satisfy her that well. But let me tell you, that child's probably mine because my sperm are winners. But let me tell you this also. I will tell you that she's a winner. And she's great. She's absolutely wonderful. But let me tell you about Amy. Amy can't win for anything these days. And I'm sorry. I think that she's just dead weight around Tina, and she's going to make her lose.
So that was great, by the way.
You're welcome.
Ralph, what do you think about Amy and Tina?
Yeah, I think Charlie Trump has a point there. It's well, first of all, I think it's just odd that there's two people nominated for one award. I'm not sure if that's just weird. But I don't know. I think this will be the big deciding factor. Do the Emmys actually hate Amy Poehler, like in terms of giving her a statue, or do they just have not given her one because they didn't feel she was deserving? We do have her as a front runner, but I also would be wary of Laurie Metcalf, only because she's nominated 3 times, and where else do we really think she has the biggest chance to win? Maybe in comedy lead actress, even though Julia Dreyfus is pretty much out front there. So this seems like a logical kind of choice to give it to her. But, election year, Tina Fey's, everything Tina Fey does. If Kimmy Schmidt can get in on Tina Fey's, name alone, even though the show's not that good, I'm pretty sure that she's probably going to get quite a few votes here for that. So I'm going with what we have as our odds-on favorite, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler's first win.
Unlike my doppelganger, which I just brought out earlier, I actually do have Amy and Tina winning this category. I just think it makes sense because I think whatever drag Amy has had in her races in previous years, Tina is enough to offset that. That was probably one of the better episodes of this season, and I just think it's a variable that we don't know how to react to. I'm just going with it. Tina Fey is always a winner. Is always an Emmy favorite, I should say, and hosts from Saturday Night Live will usually always have an edge here. So we'll see how that goes.
Right. Tina Fey has won this before, this category. Betty White has won this category. Just those two, though, and it's been a while since this category was won by an SNL person. But regarding the double nomination, remember the reality host category? Heidi Klum was nominated over and over and over for Project Runway. She only won the year that Tim Gunn joined her for the first time. So maybe it's kind of like, they like Amy, but now that she's with Tina, now she's going to win. So it could be kind of a repeat of what happened with Heidi Klum.
They should have done that in comedy actress. That could have opened up an extra slot for somebody else if they would have just put them both together.
They were on different shows.
I know, but it doesn't matter, does it? If you're talking about putting them together, let's put them together everywhere. They're best friends.
Is Melora Hardin a dark horse to win?
Yes.
I agree. I have her in second.
Yeah, and she's. I didn't even realize when she was on I didn't realize until after watching the second season of Transparent and looking her up on IMDb that she played Jan on The Office. I had no idea about that. That never clicked with me. So she's definitely been working for years, and you would normally say in an Emmy race, well, that really doesn't factor, but in the guest races, that matters a lot more than usual. So I definitely think that she could be the dark horse. With Laurie Metcalf, I think that or why am I saying Metcalf? That's what you said, right? It's Metcalf. I think that she's the fact that she's also I think she's canceled out by Christine Baranski, not just for the fact that they're on the same show. They submitted the same episode, so that's probably in this thing. Although I've just thought to myself, wait, Margot Martindale won for 2 seconds last year, so yeah.
So screen time is no longer an issue. We know based on that. And vote splitting could be an issue, but we talked about this in our Gold Derby TV Awards announcement, slugfest, whatever you want to call it, where if there's 2 people from one show or 3 people from one show, it seems like there might be a vote split situation unless there's one that's just so far out front. And I think, even though there's Tina and Amy from SNL, Melissa McCarthy is up for SNL, Amy Schumer is up for SNL, everyone agrees Tina and Amy are the front runner. So this is an example where there may not be any vote splitting. So that's why I have Tina and Amy, in first, even though there's a lot of SNL people here in the running.
Oh, do you have anything to add, Ralph?
No, I already gave you my picks on this one, so I'm good.
Ralph likes to speak once per category.
Yes.
Okay,
he's like, this is how it is, and I won't, and you can all argue out the rest.
Comedy guest actor. Is it going to be Larry David or Martin Mull? It seems like those are the 2 frontrunners people keep fighting with each other about.
What I wonder is why we have Martin Mull so low in our predicts, like our overall predicts. We have him in 4th, and I just think that's ridiculous.
That's not right.
No, I mean, I can see Larry David because because of Bernie Sanders, and I mean, people had, obviously when Bernie Sanders first came on scene, they were like, wow, that's quite a resemblance to Larry David, and that's kind of how the whole thing started, which is great. But Martin Mull was so good in Veep, especially, later on in the episodes, like when he got lost, when they were trying to find him and chasing him in the minivan. I mean, he was just so good. And if they, Veep is very popular. It was the most nominated comedy series this year. He's the only one nominated in the guest category, I believe, from Veep.
Yeah, right, because McNichol got
booted. Yeah, unfortunately, because he would have been my pick.
Same here.
It was great. Gosh. So, yeah, I mean, I would default to Martin Mull with Larry David, kind of close in second. Larry David hasn't won a performance Emmy yet, right? He never won for Curb Your Enthusiasm, only in the writing side. So this would be his first.
No, he never won for Curb Your Enthusiasm was never up for writing because it was never eligible.
Well, for SNL, didn't he win an Emmy for SNL on the writing side?
He won for Seinfeld. He won a writing and producing in 1993.
It was one of them, yeah. So, so I could see him doing it, but I don't know. Martin Mull is he's a classic vet of comedy, and I would be surprised if he didn't win this. I mean, they kind of love. It's like the Margot Martindale thing. They just love these actors, kind of people going in there and stealing a show.
Yeah, and I loved how they used him like at the beginning of the season. So they relied on him heavily for the whole Nevada recount storyline. That lasted maybe 4 or 5 episodes, and then all of a sudden, he was gone because they realized, his memory was gone, and they put him down in the basement. And I love how during the closing credits of the season finale, you see him right up there come up to the new president going, Selena, I'm glad I found you. We found the missing votes in Nevada. You won. And he just walks away. And it's wonderful.
Oh, he's great.
I would love to see him win.
Larry David was great as Bernie. And that went viral. Even if you don't watch SNL, Larry David played Bernie Sanders.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think also, it's also, I want to use that argument I had with that we had, with someone who's a veteran. I was watching a couple months ago. I was at a party where we all watched the movie Clue, which came out I think in 1986, 1987, something like that. And Martin Mull plays Colonel Mustard in that movie. You think about how long he has been around, how much he is admired as a comedic actor. Ralph is making me reconsider this. I have Larry David right now, but I think for a lot of those actors, the idea of this culmination of this kind of performer might be too good to resist for some of them.
Yeah, and we know Veep is winning a lot of awards, so maybe Martin Mull will just go along for the ride. I think I might switch. Oh, how stupid. Okay, I'm gonna switch. Switching to Martin Mull.
Yeah, and I mean, are also, like Charlie was just saying on that whole note, of being a classic. I mean, Clue is one of my all-time favorite films, like ever. I mean, it's just great, and Martin Mull's great in it. Um, this is his first primetime Emmy nomination, his first Emmy nomination. It's like, this is the first time anybody has a chance to actually award this Bob Newhart type guy of the industry, and he's actually doing, as Tom always says, who does the most acting? He's doing the most acting. Larry David's is an interpretation, and it's a great one, but it's not on the same level as what we saw Tina Fey do with what's her face? I already tried to black out. Thank you. With Sarah Palin. So that's why I veer more towards Martin Mull taking this one, and why I think it's just crazy that we have him so low in our overall predicts.
I did just change. This will be the point where I will either be very thankful that I did the Slugfest, or I will regret it because because of you guys. And Chris Beecham yesterday was telling me about he thinks Martin Mull is going to win too. So I can't ignore all of you, even though I would love to.
Well, now that you changed it, he's going to lose.
I know. But then again, the vote splitting thing, Larry David is also up for Tracy Morgan, who had a great backstory. So people will be voting for Tracy Morgan. People will be voting for Larry David. That could be a vote split.
Yep.
What about, okay, last year's winner's back, Bradley Whitford, but he's playing a different character. He only had, 30 seconds of screen time. So he could win on the Margot Martindale rule.
Yeah, I just don't think that while he is a great character actor, I don't think he has that status as a character actor that Margot Martindale has. Margot Martindale, ever since she won for Justified, her level just shot up incredibly, and now she's the revered. I mean, even on BoJack Horseman, her character is literally named character actress Margot Martindale, as it should be, because she is magnificent on that show. So I think that he might not be at the same level. Plus, that was his. I mean, she only had one. That was her second. He has two already, and he's last year's winner. I'm not sure that'll pan out this year.
All right. Should we go to the drama guest actress?
Is there any chance for Peter Scolari from Girls?
Maybe. But it's hard to overcome this. Everyone knows he was in 7th place, right? Is that a factor? And then Bob Newhart's in there. He won just 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I'm wary of putting those too low, especially Newhart.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's the two that we've been talking about. I think it's going to be Martin Mull or Larry David, but I'm wrong a lot.
Or Tracy Morgan, I think you have a point there. I mean, I think, there's a lot of sentimental, and cheering going on for him for what he had gone through recently in the past couple of years. So, that could be one.
That almost convinces me more that Martin Mull will get the most votes because, all these two SNL guys are going to split some kind of a vote here.
Yeah, I would say so even more than the several SNL nominations in the drama in the guest actress category.
Right, because Amy and Tina are just so far out front, it's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, two votes for the price of one on that one. So I think it'd be hard for them to lose.
Okay, so drama guest actress. I love this category because you have the 3 past winners: Carrie Preston, Allison Janney, and Margot Martindale are all back. And then you have Laurie Metcalf, you have Molly Parker, and you have Ellen Burstyn. Everyone and their mother seems to be picking Ellen Burstyn, including me. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'm going with Ellen Burstyn. After she beat Sarah Paulson that one year, I'm going to vote for her everywhere she's possibly nominated for an Emmy for, because that was just crazy in itself. So I'm going to Ellen Burstyn. I mean, she dies in her episode. She was great in House of Cards. I would love to see Molly Parker, more so for her work in last season of House of Cards, win this. But I don't really think she's got a legitimate shot. Everybody else on here, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they went with Margot Martindale again, because they seem to just love her. Mm-hmm. But it's Ellen Burstyn. I think it's hers to lose. I think she's pretty far out front.
Right now I don't have Ellen Burstyn. I'm going to put Ellen Burstyn in, but my number one right now until a few minutes from now is Laurie Metcalf, because that episode, it's obvious that the voters all throughout the Academy either just didn't see Horace and Pete, or it just didn't hold their interest. But they singled out her performance. She was magnificent in her one episode, and it's just the camera's just on her for 8 minutes, and the camera doesn't move. It's completely stationary, and it's just her talking, and you're just completely enthralled, and you're just willing to let her take you on this bizarre journey that she's bringing you on with her character, and what's going on with her new husband and her new father-in-law. This bizarre, crazy journey, and you're just hanging on every note of it. I don't know if either of you have seen it. Even if you may not be a fan of Horace and Pete, her performance is just fantastic, and I think that the fact that they went out of their way to single out her performance in this, I think really says something. And I am going to put Ellen Burstyn number one because I think the name recognition, she's an Oscar winner, but it's a very hard decision for me. And personally, nothing would make me happier than to see Laurie Metcalf win this, because that episode it's just her and Louis C.K. That's it, and she shows why she's a legend right now.
It feels a little too much like a play to me. I mean, give her the Tony for that, but maybe not an Emmy. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Claire Danes won the lead actress in a drama series Emmy for that episode of Homeland Q&A, which, the scenes that are with her are just her and Damian Lewis, and they rewarded it in writing. I know that's a different group of voters, but they were very open to it because it was a very theatrical. And the one thing that it was unlike a play was that there was subtlety to it. With plays, since you're playing to a large crowd, you have to be very over the top. But with this, since it's just her and the camera's focused on her, it's she's able to play every little bit of subtlety with that performance. And I think it's what I would say this is an actor's performance. Not that the other five are not actors. It's just that this is that type of performance.
Yeah, I mean, those type of monologues do win. I mean, we saw, God, his name just escaped me, but from Newsroom when he gave that speech.
Jeff Daniels.
Thank you, Jeff Daniels. Just him looking at the camera, giving a long, kind of monologue. And we always say that's what. I mean, we're thinking that House of Cards, Robin Wright could possibly win, and she has a big, long speech at the end. Going after that VP bid. So I think Charlie's right in that respect. That there are a lot of performances where they really do like that type of stuff. But I don't know. I just don't. When you're against Ellen Burstyn, I think it's really hard to bet against her. And when she dies and she's mean and she's, it's kind of heart-wrenching at a certain point. They're seeing it not only as Robin Wright's submission, but as Ellen Burstyn's submission. So you're going to watch it at least once, if you pay attention to the submissions at all. So,
Ellen Burstyn did not submit the dying episode.
Oh, well, then I stand correct. Then she's not dying. And then what am I talking about?
Yeah, no, I mean, with the new expanded voting system, it doesn't matter as much, but she submitted the second episode of the season where we really see her in her bitchiness as Robin Wright's mother.
When she first arrives at the house.
Yeah. And that might play in her favor more, because when I was double checking this, I was thinking to myself, if she submitted the episode where she dies, if you don't watch House of Cards, you don't know the context of this, of how she really was, very spiteful towards Claire Underwood, and you don't understand the evolution of the character. So.
Yeah,
I think that plays up more to her advantage that she submitted the second episode.
I think that's kind of a mistake to do. I think she should have gone with the one that has the most emotional punch to it, because nobody gives a crap about her backstory. They want to know. They want to see something that that's big on the screen. I mean, you're a guest actress. You have one episode. You have a couple of minutes to make a huge impact, and you just being, some old crow doesn't mean that they're all of a sudden, I mean, they can go down the street and find a lady that's just as angry, I'm sure, or an old woman or an old man just as crotchety. So I don't really think, or when all the animated shows get nominated and none of them are ones that you want.
Or just in general.
If Laurie Metcalf, I just wanted to say Metcalf, if she wins, it gives faith to the episode submission process, because they didn't watch Horace and Pete, right? We can all agree.
Or they just didn't like it.
So if the voters are watching the episodes, Laurie Metcalf would win. She gives the best performance. If Ellen Burstyn wins, it really solidifies the fact that, what we learned last year is that they're not watching these episodes.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, because she's
in this category. Margot Martindale won for drinking a cup of coffee.
I'd go with that. I'm with Marcus on this, and I rarely ever say that.
Some categories maybe they did, but I think we know 100% for certain this category last year was not won by an episode submission.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right.
I would say the real tell would be if Margot Martindale wins again.
Oh, don't.
That's the real tell.
Why would you?
I mean, also, Peter Dinklage won last year. That was a pretty big tell that episodes didn't really matter.
Don't get me started.
Sorry, Jonathan Banks. You had it.
The Gold Derby Award also went to Ellen Burstyn, and our forum readers and posters, they loved Horace and Pete. So the fact that Laurie Metcalf didn't win with us.
And they don't like House of Cards. There are a lot of anti-House of Cards people in Gold Derby, which is, and also shout out to Gold Derby Awards this year. Thank God Parks and Rec was not nominated for anything and was not eligible and is off the air, because it was getting so old that crap was winning every year.
Get over it.
Get over it. It's wonderful.
No, it's good, but I don't think it deserves a Gold Derby Award every year. We have so many other comedies that we could award.
Yeah, well, we didn't need to reward Game of Thrones again this year, but yeah, what can you do?
It was its best season ever. What do you guys think?
Blah, 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 blah,
God.
Okay, so I made a switch for drama guest actor yesterday. I had Max von Sydow for months and months and months. And yesterday I switched to Reggie Cathy. So that's 2 switches in 2 days. Kill me.
How long is he in that episode?
It doesn't matter.
I'm just curious. I'm not asking to criticize.
Less than 5 minutes.
It's like 3 minutes. We see him, and he just scolds the president for that one little bit of the episode, and it's way towards the beginning of the episode. Although, I still will never forget in that great voice of his when he says, "Fuck you, Mr. President." It's like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I think he's winning again. Who do you guys have winning this one? There's 3 House of Cards people. And then there's Michael J. Fox for The Good Wife. This is his 5th nomination for the show. The only time he didn't get nominated there was a mistake and CBS forgot to submit him on the ballot that year. Otherwise, he would have been nominated all 6 years. And then Hank Azaria rounds out the category for Ray Donovan.
Yeah, I actually I didn't have Max von Sydow in there because I didn't really remember what he did on Game of Thrones. I couldn't really remember his character, but
he was a tree guy.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch this season? He was in like 3 episodes.
Yeah, but he was a tree guy, which wasn't. It wasn't that amazing. And Reggie Cathy is a good pick. I'm probably going against everybody else on this. I'm going with Hank Azaria. He's really popular with the Emmys. He's only won for The Simpsons before, but he's been nominated, for what was that, Huff that he was in as lead actor in a comedy, and I think he's just really well liked within the Academy, and Friends, and really well respected. And this would be his first live action performance Emmy, and the category, let's be honest, isn't completely strong. There's 3 House of Cards guys in there, and also. Why I'm going with Hank is I don't know. It's just I lost my train of thought. I honestly lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I
Thank
was gonna
God you're done talking. Okay, Charlie.
Why are you fighting, daddies? I do have Max von Sydow in there in the top spot right now, but
That's a safe bet. I mean, Game of Thrones is going to win a lot of creative arts.
yeah, and he's also a two-time Oscar nominee. Internationally respected actor. I think he won the Best Actor award at the Cannes Film Festival for Pele the Conqueror. But it's just tough because there's no one performance that just stands out like, wow, this is the standout one from last year. They're all good, but there's no sense of momentum for any of them. Right. So I think Ralph has an excellent point about Hank Azaria, because he's someone who has been working for decades in this business, has done such great work in both, as a voice actor on The Simpsons, but just in acting in general. He's a legend. And then Michael J. Fox wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Because it's Michael J. Fox. He delivered the only Emmy win for one of my favorite shows, Rescue Me, when he won Guest Actor in a Drama Series. Unfortunately, he was not able to win Guest Actor in a Comedy Series for playing himself on Curb Your Enthusiasm. He was robbed because
we were all predicting that. I remember.
He was so magnificent playing that douchebag version of himself. I'd say if actors are keeping an eye out as to what's gaining buzz for the upcoming Oscar season, I'd say Mahershala Ali might have a chance. I don't think he really does, but he's getting a lot of good praise for what's the movie that he's in?
Moonlight.
Moonlight, yes. He's
getting
getting a lot of good advance praise for that. And that could play into this, Felicity Huffman. I know there were other things going for her win, but she won in advance of what would become her eventual Oscar nomination for Transparent. So, not Transparent, Transamerica.
And I remember what I was going to say. Ray Donovan actually picked up nominations this year, so it's obviously something that they were watching. They brought back Jon Voight in the supporting actor category,
and they don't do that very often.
No, they don't drop you unless you're, Juliana Margulies from The Good Wife
or Maggie Smith.
But I also, I think Paul Sparks. I'm not sure that he has a legitimate shot to win. But if we're looking at stuff that maybe, to not have voters forget about you, he was in The Night Of, which is one of HBO's most popular shows of the year, and summer series as well. He had a pretty significant role in that miniseries. So if they were watching that, they got a chance to get reminded of what he did over in House of Cards and what he was doing, 4 months later after that on HBO. So I don't think that gives him any real shot to win, but I think it's something to keep in mind.
You guys convinced me. I had Hank Azaria too low, so I put him up into third. I think if someone from House of Cards is going to win, it's Reggie Cathy. So I'm really confident in that, knock on wood. So I have Ali and Sparks in 5th and 6th. But 1 through 4 could really go. I don't see Michael J. Fox winning either. I feel like he had his shot for the show. It's come and gone. So maybe it's between.
In this category, it does not matter what his shot is. It's the fact that he is Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, he's the most well-known of the category.
Then why didn't he win last year, or the year before, or the year before, or the year before?
Well, we were all predicting something else last year, and I can't remember.
Beau Bridges.
Were we predicting Beau Bridges again last year?
Suicide Scene.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And Reggie Cathy. So we didn't even have our eye on Reggie Cathy. So there was anything else. All of these other ones are more, they don't have that momentum or that sense of oomph that Beau Bridges had last year. And it seems like for a lot of people, it feels like Reggie Cathy might be out front just by default.
Yeah, I kind of think that's right. That's why I switched to him yesterday, and I'm not really regretting it. Usually when I make a last-minute switch, I'm kicking myself, but this one just feels right.
But how often do they give a guest actor back-to-back Emmys for guest actor. I mean, they didn't do it for Allison Janney.
The last one in this category was Charles S. Dutton, but that was 2 different shows. That was
Yeah,
The
it was 2 different
Practice and
shows.
Without a Trace.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the same role, the same category, for the same show.
Almost never, ever, ever happens.
Yeah, so I don't know how we can be so confident that Reggie Cathy is really too much in this race.
I'm not confident. It just feels like a safer choice than Max von Sydow does.
Yeah, well, that I agree with you with.
Anything else?
I'm going over some of the previous winners now. Let me see here.
Well, this is really fun watching you scroll on a computer.
Oh, you bet your ass it is. I'd pay to watch this.
Let's talk about animated series while Charlie's busy doing this. That way we can blow
That way
over
you
it.
don't have to listen to me bitch.
Exactly, because he
Actually,
hates all of them.
There's never been in this specific category. There's never been a back-to-back winner for
The same show.
guest actor for the same show for the same role.
There you go, Marcus.
So he could set a record.
That'd be nice for him.
You're riding that pony, huh?
What's up for animation? Is it
Animation? We have
Halloween
All the
right?
same.
We have Archer for the episode The Figgis Agency. That was their season premiere. Bob's Burgers for the episode The Horse Riderer. Let's see. We have The Simpsons for Halloween of Horror, which is not their annual Halloween episode with the 3 segments. This aired the week before, and it's a Halloween-centered episode, but it has an actual plot throughout the whole episode. Phineas and Ferb for their series finale. I think it's Last Day of Summer. And South Park for You're Not Yelping.
And who's going to
Off
win?
the top of my head.
I think Simpsons is going to win that one.
If we had that in our prediction center, I would have The Simpsons in number 1. The episode is actually very good, and I'm someone who I'm a real Simpsons snob. I have the first 9 seasons on DVD, and I always say to everyone, and that's all I need because it's never been that good after. And I always say it in that exact accent. But this episode was actually really, really good, and I actually found myself really enjoying watching the episode. So I think The Simpsons is out front. They have been in a drought, though. I think it's been 8 years, or maybe... No, I think it's been 8 years since they last won in this category. That's the longest that the show has ever gone without a win in this category since the show premiered. So, if they're watching the episodes, I'd say it stands a good chance. I think Bob's Burgers, since it actually did pull off a victory... I love him. Bob's Burgers, I think, has a good chance as well. It wasn't as well-reviewed episode, but I think it does. It's still a solid episode, and it has Paul Rudd voicing an imaginary horse, which is very funny. South Park is very good. I think Archer is a dark horse to watch, though.
What won last year? Bob's Burgers?
Over the Wall, the Cartoon Network miniseries.
Yeah, that's right.
Shocker. Okay.
Well, it also that's what brings me to Phineas and Ferb, though. It's the one. It's that apple and the thing of oranges.
That's what I voted for.
It's okay. You're a monster. First of all. Second of all, it's the one show that's specifically aimed at kids. This is one that has been gotten recognized in other areas of the Emmys, but this is really their first big shot at a win, and It's a tough one. I would probably actually put that one up front. I take back what I said about The Simpsons, about that being up front. I would put that up front with Simpsons very close second.
The Slugfest has turned into the Charlie Show.
Hey, I monologue sometimes.
He likes animated stuff.
I love my cartoons.
He does. I voted for Phineas and Ferb, so that's what I'm going with.
Archer's one to watch, though. This is their third reboot of the show in I think as many years in terms of what they have the actual characters doing, and it was very well received. It was very funny. I have a lot of friends that are fans. I didn't hear a single negative thing from them, and they're devout fans of the show. So I think that would be one to watch out too. But if you're predicting, I'd say go with Phineas and Ferb.
We should predict this next year at Gold Derby. It's a good category. Okay, so reality host. Jane Lynch has won this twice. I'm going with Steve Harvey though for Little Big Shots. What about you guys? And you also have Ryan Seacrest for the final season of Idol. You have RuPaul Charles. You have Tom Bergeron. He's won before, and you have Heidi and Tim. They've won before.
I'm going with RuPaul. I'm nervous that only casting directors get to vote in this category, not performers or anything, because then I'd be more confident in the RuPaul pick. But I don't know. RuPaul got in there. It's the loudest of the nominees. I think it's the one that hasn't been on the ballot before. I think it's eye grabbing, and I think at this time, with all the crap that's going on in elections and stuff, RuPaul's just like a breath of fresh air within the category. From what you have with people just talking to the audience. Or Steve Harvey's a great pick. I think Steve Harvey's really good on Family Feud, and if he was on that.
I think he's going to get votes for that. I think some of these older members are so out of date and out of touch that they're going to be, or these casting directors, they're going to be like, oh, Steve Harvey, I love him on Family Feud, check. Plus, Tom O'Neill always says the Emmys are about giving hugs. I think Hollywood wants to hug this guy after the whole Miss Universe fiasco. I think this is going to be their way of saying, we still love you. You made a mistake, but we all love you still.
Did he win at the daytime Emmys earlier this year? I know he's won there before.
I could check.
Yeah, I think he might. I think he might have, and that obviously came after the whole Miss Universe kerfuffle, and he also did a Super Bowl ad where he made fun of that as well. I think I would love to see RuPaul win. I find that a very hard thing, and if she actually does pull this off, I'm gonna credit Ralph with the secret. He willed it to happen.
Well, RuPaul's been around for decades. People know the name, and the show that RuPaul is up for is named RuPaul's Drag Race. Nobody else has their name in the show. It's like they own. RuPaul owns that show. It's like if you're going to award RuPaul, you're also awarding the show. That's 2 for 1. I just think that,
and she really acts as a mentor on that show, even more so, I'd say, than Tim than Heidi, and not Heidi, but Tim on Project Runway. He's really a supportive mentor to these crazy queens on the show, and I think that could be a very endearing quality for it.
And also, forgive me for saying this. I hopefully it doesn't offend anybody. But also, RuPaul, it's a transformation. I know it doesn't really matter in that, but you've seen RuPaul not as RuPaul, and you've seen RuPaul as RuPaul, and so people know it's like 2 different personas there. So it's way more than just guest hosting, or just hosting a show. It's an actual performance, which I think also helps RuPaul in the category.
Craig
You're
Ferguson
right, and I just worry that
daytimes.
Steve Harvey won the last 2?
Craig Ferguson won the last 2. Steve Harvey won 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. All right, and you're right about that, Ralph. I just think that's more aligned with fact and not how, in terms of what it actually is, and not how the voters will perceive it. Unfortunately, but that's my only obstacle to actually predicting that he'll take the win.
Why no one's picking Jane Lynch? Why? She's won this twice, and they love repeats. Jeff Probst won this category 4 times. Lynch. Oh, you are? Okay.
Jane Lynch. It's just boring to talk about saying, oh yeah, I'm picking the one who won the past 2 years in a row.
Right. I'm just glad this category got a major shakeup. RuPaul, Steve Harvey, Ryan Seacrest came back after being snubbed a couple times.
No, never mind.
No. So what other categories should we talk about before we head out here? Variety special?
Ugh.
No.
Yeah, no. Let's. I'm sorry. I was picking up a piece of paper and I had a big thing of dust on it. So.
Okay, this could be our last one. So variety special. This is actually a fun category because Kennedy Center Honors used to win this all the time, but now they're up against Lemonade. Now they're up against Adele live in New York City, and Amy Schumer live at the Apollo, and Late Late Show Carpool Karaoke. That I don't know what to do. I'm picking Lemonade just because Beyonce seems to be the hottest thing in the world right now, but it could be Adele. A lot of people are picking Adele.
I think for anyone that would be considering either of those, that will lead to vote splitting, because it's two pop acts, and I think anybody who might be going with that mindset, it'll cause them to split. What won this last year? It wasn't.
Was it SNL 40th anniversary?
Yes, yes, it was. Okay, and it was the first time the Kennedy Center Honors had lost in forever. But I think to the point to that you say, yes, Lemonade was like one of the big events of the year that everyone was that this was huge. But we thought that about Cosmos too, and look how that turned out 2 years ago. I have Lemonade in right now. I'm gonna go with the Kennedy Center Honors.
Yeah, and I feel like just look at the Kennedy Center Honors. Who votes for that stuff? People that are older, right? Who else would vote for the Kennedy Center's Honors? Exactly. That's why I'm in dark light, just to hide the old. But you really think that those people are now going to transfer their vote over to Lemonade? Maybe Adele, but I don't know. I'm actually going with Carpool Karaoke, and for the reason that Marcus had brought up for something else, or for guest comedy actor, is because it's viral. Like you have seen it. Everybody has seen a Carpool Karaoke, and I'm not just talking about. It's not just an HBO special. It's not just a special on PBS. It's something that you can see online, and people wait to see who the next celebrity is that's going to be involved in it. And so everybody's really familiar, and it's arguably the thing that has brought James Corden up to this status that he is now. Because when he first started the show, he was popular, but since Carpool Karaoke with Adele, that seemed to kind of shoot him up, big time into this this big late night host guy. And so now he's doing Carpool Karaoke with Michelle Obama. All these people. So I think I voted for that, and I'm going with that just because it's the most popular, I would suspect, of all that's nominated, or the most viewed, I should say. Maybe not most popular, most viewed,
most known,
right. Most
seen. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It has the broadest appeal too, huh?
Definitely on that one. Besides, I'd say the Kennedy Center Honors is pretty broad appeal, though, too. You think about what it takes to put that together, and how they put together the not necessarily specifically the television ad, but the whole thing. How do you put these tributes together? They love tributes. That's why Kennedy Center Honors, even last year when it lost to the 40th anniversary of SNL. So
interesting.
Yeah. And I don't think Amy Schumer is going to win this one. No. I think that she could pull it off in writing, the variety special writing, but that's going to be a very
or variety sketch. She could win easily.
Well, that's for her show Inside Amy Schumer. This is for her stand-up special.
Oh yes, okay.
Yeah.
By the way, our all-star top 24, the ones who've done the best over the past few years, they have Lemonade in first, Adele in second, Kennedy in third, Carpool in fifth.
That's because they're all younger kind of fanboys of Beyonce. Let's be honest here. It's not the age.
She is Queen Bee. And I just have to say that because, or else I would be literally crucified when I go to my gay kickball league next Sunday.
Well, I'll be honest and say I don't really understand the appeal very much. She's great. I liked her better as Destiny's Child, to be quite honest. But I know she's big and everything and whatnot. But I just don't think if we're looking at what's won in the past, Kennedy Center Honor, 40th anniversary of SNL, that's an older demographic that's really voting for this award, and I'm not sure that older demographic is watching Lemonade.
I just switched to Kennedy Center. You guys, this is a mess. If I lose all these categories, I'm coming after you because I just made so many switches.
Classic codependency, placing all the blame on other people. Just two other categories quickly. The variety series directing and writing. Those are going to be presented at the Creative Arts. Is it tomorrow or Sunday? I think it's going to be on Sunday. Those are being presented. They were on the prime time last year. What do you guys have in there?
I think Grace Live is going to win directing. I think.
That's special. That's special.
Sorry,
they're presenting
what
that on
were you
the
saying?
primetime one.
Were you saying sketch or what?
No, variety series
directing
and writing.
Saturday Night Live is what I have for directing.
Same here. To me, that seems like a given.
Yeah, I have that too. And variety series writing, I have Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. But watch out for Samantha Bee.
I have Key and Peele.
Yeah, I have Key and Peele too.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Because I think Schumer's going to win series again, but this would be a good spot to reward Key and Peele since it is their last season, and they've been up at the Emmys for years, but have just never gotten that win.
Don't shows like Daily Show and Colbert Report, don't they win this category every year? The political half-hour comedy. That's why I'm going with John Oliver. It just fits. It's basically the same show.
True, but I don't think they have.
Has a sketch won this recently? I could check if you guys want to just ramble.
Oh, no, it's been years since a sketch has won this one. Because the Daily Show had it for years, but also let's see, there was Late Show with David Letterman, Conan O'Brien won it once, Colbert. Yeah, it's been a while since a sketch show has won. I think the last one was Saturday Night Live in 2002.
Okay, I'm pulling it up. So that tells me right there Key and Peele's not going to win.
Well, that's not saying it can't happen. It's just been a while. That's all.
Yeah, I understand the whole political thing. I'm just not sure how proven at the Emmys John Oliver really is, since this is his first time going to bat in a lot of these categories.
Daily Show. Okay, Saturday Night Live won in 2002. After that, it was Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and then Colbert came in 2008. Conan won in 2007. Otherwise, it was Colbert and Daily Show. This is almost 2 decades here.
And also Late Show with David Letterman before that.
So yeah, I'm sticking with John Oliver. I think that's a safe bet, and I'm going to.
Or I think the Chris Rock show won this a couple times, and that was a sketch show too.
Chris Rock, yeah, 99 he won. As Eddie Izzard won in 2000 for Dress to Kill.
It was a stand-up special.
Dennis Miller Live won in 98.
That's one I think they should take back.
Well, on that note, okay, final thoughts on the Creative Arts. Game of Thrones is going to win a million things, right? I think if they win one more trophy, it will break the record for the most wins for a drama series. Right now it's tied, I believe, with West Wing, with the most trophies overall. And if it wins one more, which it will, it's going to be the new record holder.
What I'm curious is how many wins would we say is underperforming for Game of Thrones at the Creative Arts ceremony?
I think it needs to win 4 or 5.
I was just going to say if it's 4 below, I'd say that is underperforming.
Right.
Which is that's a weird thing to think of, they win 4 and we're like, ooh, that was lower than we expected. Right.
If it gets like 1 or 2 or 3, it's going to be like considered a loser or of the Creative Arts.
And then we're gonna panic for a week and say, "Uh-oh, is it in trouble? It's in trouble." Right. And then it's gonna win everything. It's gonna win everything at the main ceremony.
Remember, Boardwalk Empire won like 8 or something.
That's right.
So we're like, Boardwalk Empire is going to beat Mad Men. No, people, no. Okay, so anything else? No. Okay, watch Gold Derby tomorrow. We're going to have a marathon slugfest. During the Creative Arts. So also follow us on Twitter. We're going to be live tweeting the winners because me and Chris Beecham will be there in the press room at the Creative Arts. So stick with Gold Derby for the next 2 days, and we will give you all of the coverage that you need.